For years, politicians have been claiming they have the perfect plan to put steelworkers and miners back to work.
We're going to bring back our steel jobs, and we're going to rebuild this nation.
But what if the replacement for the steel industry is Amazon?
Amazon Prime flies in and out of here, multiple flights a day, in and out. Whether you like it or not, whether you like e-commerce or not, it doesn't matter. It's here and it's creating jobs. You could choose to reject it and wait for coal mines to reopen and steel mills to reopen. It's not going to happen.
Across the U.S., massive e-commerce fulfillment centers are creating thousands of jobs for unskilled workers. But with the rise of automation and robotics, those jobs may have an even shorter expiration date than the ones they're effectively replacing.
Many Pennsylvania towns, once thriving, are now in a state of total disrepair. Many of these areas have still never recovered and never will unless I become president.
Today I'm in the Lehigh Valley, a region of the northeast United States that includes classic blue-collar towns like Bethlehem and Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Well, we're living here in Allentown, and they're closing all the factories down.
Bethlehem Steel, portrayed in this Billy Joel music video, was one of the most successful American businesses of the 20th century. By the 1950s, Bethlehem Steel was manufacturing 23 million tons every year, and its president became the highest paid executive in the entire country. But as foreign steelmakers emerged as a cheaper alternative, the area lost tens of thousands of jobs. This isn't a problem unique to the Lehigh Valley. Many towns in America's Rust Belt have struggled to find their place in the modern economy. Trump spent much of his campaign addressing the communities that were damaged by the shift, going so far as to say he would bring back coal jobs.
Coal is coming back. Clean coal is coming back. 100%.
But Don Cunningham, a former mayor of Bethlehem and whose first term began right as Bethlehem Steel dissolved, says his community turned things around not by returning to its past, but by embracing the future.
The world has moved on from what existed in the 50s and the 60s. To create policy at any level, whether it's federal policy, state, or local policy, with a nostalgic eye towards yesterday, is folly. But there's communities all across America that are sitting around waiting for yesterday to come back. Yesterday's not coming back. We had to reinvent ourselves or we were going to die.
As of late last year, Amazon is the third largest employer in Lehigh County. But they're not the only ones aggressively expanding in the valley. FedEx recently announced it would open its largest U.S. facility in Allentown, which will process 75,000 packages an hour.
We've worked with Amazon. Amazon has 3 different facilities here. We've managed to rebuild ourselves, and quite frankly, our economy is even stronger than it was 20 years ago. We have $37 billion in GDP coming out of these 2 counties. That's more economic output than the entire state of Vermont. So take that to Trump and tell him to put it in his pipe and smoke it.
Part of how the area reinvented itself was by finding new ways to utilize 2 of its most valuable assets, its workforce and its robust distribution infrastructure of air, rail, and trucking. But while this e-commerce boom has brought new prosperity to the region, it's far from being a full replacement for the steel industry. At Amazon's Brenningsville location, we tried to talk to current warehouse employees about what it's like to work there.
First 2 weeks are kind of tiring. Sore, a little bit on your feet.
Hey, what's up? How you doing? Did you have some questions about Amazon? Yeah, we want to talk to people who work inside the warehouse.
Sure. Who are you with?
I'm with a publication called The Outline.
The Outline. Okay.
We were quickly turned away by security, who referred us to Amazon's PR department by handing us a handwritten URL on a Post-it note. Amazon pays its warehouse employees $12.75 an hour, and according to one former employee who spoke to The Outline, the job is, quote, grueling. And though picking items off shelves is certainly safer than the dangerous conditions at Bethlehem steel mills, some employees have spoken to local media about alleged unsafe conditions inside the warehouses. Fulfillment employees do receive benefits from the company, but unlike industrial workers of the past, they have no union representation and are paid less. Internally, Amazon uses a strict point system where workers get docked for missing various time-based quotas. If an employee receives enough points, they can be terminated. Of course, there's a certain type of worker that's really good at meeting quotas: robots.
I tell this to everybody here, it's great we've had this explosion of jobs, but the day's gonna come where it's gonna level off and go down the other way. Same as it was with auto manufacturing or steel making, and the same's gonna happen in the industrial sector. We live in the era of technology. You know, as new automation technology, robotics is introduced to shop floors and industrial floors, certainly the day will come where these facilities aren't so labor intensive. The question is, when is that day?
Amazon already uses robots in factories to assist employees in picking items from shelves and sorting boxes and packages. FedEx, Walmart, and other companies that manage warehouses are increasingly investing in robotics.
There will be fewer and fewer jobs that a robot cannot do better. What to do about mass unemployment? This is going to be a massive social challenge. And I think ultimately we will have to have some kind of universal basic income. I don't think we're going to have a choice. A much harder challenge is, how do people then have meaning? Like, a lot of people, they derive their meaning from their employment. If there's not a need for your labor, what's the meaning? Do you have meaning? Do you feel useless? That's a much harder problem to deal with.
A 2013 report by the McKinsey Global Institute estimated that up to 140 million full-time jobs could be lost to automation by 2025. Cunningham told me the area doesn't have any explicit plans to prepare for this shift, but he says they'll likely do what they've always done: adapt.
The only constant in life is change. But this is not a Lehigh Valley issue, this is an America issue, and it's a global issue. We could all foresee a day where machines, robots, technology eliminate more jobs than there are people. And what'd you say, when's that gonna happen, 2025?
Yeah, but I think that's
So that only gives us 8 years. Hopefully they won't take my job in 8 years.